One of the other things the students did that really creeped me the fuck out was I go to this place. Um, it's called Battle and Brew. I'm going to use its name, because I don't think this hurts their business at all. And Battle and Brew is a gaming bar. It's an amazing place. Love that place. If you're ever in Atlanta, go to Battle and Brew. Not only people who work there are amazing. It's a safe environment for whoever you are, whatever gender, um, whatever orientation. You can be yourself, and you can be a nerd. And honest to God, some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life, I met at Battle and Brew, working either behind the bar or, in front of it. Meeting them as customers, as regulars. And I was at Battle and Brew, and I met a girl. This girl did happen to be Asian as well, as an aside. But I think I have a complex now because of the defamation. But I met her, and we made a connection, and it didn't become anything. We were talking frequently online after we met, and then I went out with dinner with her, and I was horrifically sick. I was like, snot pouring out of my nose, miserable, and we made the plans to go out, and I wasn't gonna cancel because I'm just that kind of person. And she was like, eat soup. She was taking care of me. She was really cool. And then all contact stopped. And that's what happened with all the students on campus. But she's not a student on campus. It was very bizarre. So what I decided to do a couple of months later, I decided to go back to people who'd stopped contacting me off campus, because it started with her, but there was a handful of other people too. And I was like, on an off chance, I know this sounds incredibly paranoid, but have you been approached by anybody from Oglethorpe University? And she was the first one to respond, one of the few. She went, yeah. They found out where I was, they found out where I lived, and they had all these pictures and evidence and the stories that you wrote and all this stuff and corroborating witnesses, and you just seem like you're a creepy bad person and whatever it is, and I want to pardon it, so don't talk to me again. And I was like, holy shit, they tracked down someone I met at a bar. Like, I didn't change my relationship status on Facebook. This is someone I did friend on Facebook, which is where the connection came. Well, there was also a video of us together at Battle and Brew on my Facebook page and on Battle and Brew's Facebook page that they were doing it. So they had cyber stalked me to get the information who I was, and they were targeting anybody that I had met. And this isn't the only person. There were several other people that I had become friends with that this had happened with as well. It was very creepy, and I reported it to the school. And they called me crazy. I also did 3 police reports where they all got kicked back internally to move over to Brookhaven PD just across from the school, and had a detective call me crazy. Well, not really call me crazy directly as much as tell me that it's not worth anyone's time. Lie and say that some of the things they were doing wasn't against the law. Deflect everything. And he had brought me into an interrogation room to do it. Tried to probe me to see if there's a way that he can get me in trouble. It's an awful, awful experience.
Being able to prove like harassing communications, with social media is a whole other ballgame.
Yeah.
Having to prove that these people are actually reaching out to other people to defame you, that would be defamation of character, which is again a civil matter.
Yeah.
Stalking you, I can understand where you would feel like it's a stalking, but the elements of the crime of stalking are very specific. Okay. So, a judge ain't gonna give me a warrant for that. It sounds more like a cyberbullying thing, but it's also not a real charge. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I know hazing's a charge, but I don't know if this meant. Yeah.
Right. That wouldn't fall under that. The only thing that I can tell you at this point is that it appears that you've taken the matters as far as you could, as far what you're doing with the school.
Right.
And making sure that in all of this, you don't lose your head.
Right.
And do anything stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
absolutely.
that's going to be a major concern as well. Understand that if the school feels like this guy's suing us, so he's obviously pissed off. Is he going to get pissed off to the point where he's unstable?
Yeah.
and is he going to be a threat? And then you don't want them doing a threat assessment on you. You know, has that not already happened?
They've already tried to do that, and that
Okay.
was horrible. That was horrifying. They tried to do that, and they tried to. Again, there's a defamation case involving one of the administrators because she took that way too far.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. That red flags you, and then when it red flags you to law enforcement, we don't know what the heck's going on. We don't. All we're going is by what the school is telling us. So now, not only are you having to deal with all these people looking at you kind of weird, now you have to worry about dealing about security and law enforcement worried about whether or not, hey, is this going to be our next active shooter?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So just be real careful as to how you handle it, what you say to certain people out of anger or anything.
And that's what it was like every time dealing with the deans too, and what this whole experience is. And full disclosure, I have a Title IX hearing coming up soon on the 11th, but it's not mine against my attacker. No, ahead of mine, even though I filed first, they're doing my attackers against me, claiming I sexually harassed her with poorly written, poorly sourced evidence, and only 2 witnesses who lied through their teeth. One of them, my academic advisor. Provably, because I recorded all my conversations with my academic advisor, and he made a different witness statement in the previous Title IX against one of my harassers, of which the university has roadblocked me from seeing, and like an attorney, I had to cite the specific law to tell them that they actually had to let me view the report again, and I don't know if I will be able to get the hearing panel to even look at, even though he made a completely contradictory witness statement in a previous Title IX. Invalidating everything he said.
So, will the hearing panel see this? The respondent on the 11th. Okay. They should see this. I'm going to formally request that they see this, and the first thing I'm going to ask when I get the hearing panel is that they should see this, and I'm not going to stop until they see it. And I met that opportunity. Yes, I did. I totally came. I came, and you're doing this on purpose. That's what your triggers are trying to railroad me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that hearing. I'm going to shove all of this. Like, this is stuff you couldn't see. This is what they didn't want you to know.
Anything that's relevant, as determined by the investigator, is provided. The investigator has the discretion to do that.
Yeah, and she failed in her bias to include relevant information. I had to write an 86-page response.
Right, and so that is going to be viewed by the hearing panel. That was your opportunity.
Yeah, and I asked for this so I could include it, and then you didn't know the law, and told me I couldn't see it, and then I asked for it. Then I asked the department that you sent me to, and they're like, we don't even handle this.
They do. It was a confusion on it, but because this is a FERPA request, so that does go through them, and then it goes through me. That's as an aside. You had the opportunity to meet with the investigator.
And I met that opportunity.
And you did not meet with her.
I totally came. I came to her door.
Submitted and listened to by the investigator. And they were really pissed about that. And that's sort of the theme, is they're always mad when I'm right. They're always mad when I have evidence. I was mocked constantly. Like, oh, but you have to have evidence for this. And then I submit the evidence and they freak out. When my ex-girlfriend confessed to the defamation in writing, and I submitted that as evidence to the defamation as a part of my original Title IX I filed in 2017, Dean Hall was furious and accused me of coercing it out of her. Though the only thing I threatened to do was to go to Dean Hall about the conduct code violation, because defamation is a conduct code violation. That's specifically worded as libel and slander, which together is defamation. Only to be lied to by Dean Hall and to be told the defamation, libel and slander are not conduct code violations. They just refuse to handle these situations. I was the enemy. As soon as I accused somebody of sexual assault formally, I became the enemy, because my story and my experience ruins the image of safe, pristine, liberal Oglethorpe. And it's gotten worse. um, the harassment has gotten worse. The image of the students have gotten worse through their own actions. Let me read some of the responses online. Some of the defamation. So here's one from Reddit. Throw away because I know I'm going to get doxxed or brigaded by this guy personally on campus if he finds out who is writing this. Found this post via a chain of group messages, not even associated with this friend group. Yes, I was being discussed by other friend groups and some other groups that included administrators who were making fun of me. So one of the patrons of the bar I frequented let me in on the fact that one of the administrators was openly mocking me in a Facebook group after I wrote my article. And that patron opened up to me to tell me that he himself was sexually assaulted in college by a girl. He was a good guy. Sorry that happened to you, man. Anyway, but knows OP pretty well. I was there as a student when all this happened last year. The current student, so I can vouch. Please don't send this guy any money. This was the post to help for the legal fund. Let me tell you about this harassment suit. The school never investigated what happened because OP is a paranoid schizophrenic who refuses to get help for it. It runs in his family because my mom is schizophrenic, and why shouldn't everybody know that? And he's delusional that he needs treated. I openly see therapists. That's something I'm known for, is breaking the stigma of mental illness. I suffer from depression and PTSD. Now from the experiences I've had on campus and the gaslighting I've received. It's so insane. Anyway, you think that the multitude of therapists I've seen over the years would have diagnosed me with schizophrenia. There was a mutually signed do not contact between him and the harasser. And the school left it at that after the girl graduated. That became a thing later because there was a retaliation claim that I had filed my Title IX against my attacker because of the do not contact order. What had happened is they moved the goalpost. Initially, I filed it because it was retaliation to hers. Then I proved that I'd filed it first because the harasser screwed up and submitted into evidence in his own defense an email from Dean Palder when she filed the Title IX, which gave me the date, which was 2 days after I filed it. And then they moved the goalpost back to the do not contact, but then I was able to prove that I filed the do not contact before her, and they finally just dropped it. But they're still going through with the hearing anyway. Try to ruin my reputation. After that, OP has been hell-bent on restitution. Why wouldn't I be? Because OP refuses to work for a living. Not even a food service job or anything. Well, full-time student, and actually I was a dishwasher at one of the other local bars for a while, so, which is the lowest rung on the totem pole. I was a bartender for a time. Before then, I was willing to take any work, but whatever. But yet finds a way to fully pay for this girl he's been trying to sleep with. I know what the poster is talking about. There was a girl who was a former part of the group, or actually was a current part of the group, and she wanted to come down for a convention. I had just gotten my student refund check in, and I let her loan the money. She was going to pay me. She said she was going to pay me back for the plane ticket, and then she was going to. I didn't have anyone to hang out with, and I was socially isolated. And she was like, "I wanted to, talk to you and tell you what's going on, or talk to you about what's going on, and tell you what the other group is going on." So we met, and we did, and she did, and it wasn't to sleep with her or anything. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. It wasn't the intention. It's just I had no one else to talk to, and then she reported it to the group and then stole the money and never paid me back, and then that was the end of it. She was just trying to get information from me, and I could actually tell towards the end of the conversation that that's kind of what the deal was, because she was disappointed at all this evidence, and that really I was just homeless, alone, and she had to pay me back the money or I was screwed, and then she didn't pay me back, and I was screwed because that was food money. It was stupid of me to do, but I just really wanted someone to talk to. Whatever. Anyway, I've straight up heard this guy say he doesn't want to work because he wants to be a normal college kid. I have no idea what you're talking about. I was doing freelance IT stuff between classes. And it will take away from that experience. I have no idea what you're talking about. Back to the issue at hand. This time last year, he makes us sure this girl is straight up legally stalking You can't legally stalk somebody, first of all. And we dated, and there's all this evidence of it. I backed up her entire Facebook archive. It's the core part of this Title IX I'm fighting for sexual harassment, is that she straight up talk about the relationship. Whatever. He said to everyone they was dating and sleeping together, girl avoided this dude like the plague. I guess there's none of these pictures of us together then. And repeatedly told him to back off. Nope. No, I told her to back off because she tried to break into my apartment. Seeing OP's mind sexual assault idea comes from girl rejecting him. Girl files charges against him for stalking. OP counted charges the Title IX, saying the school did nothing when the girl never slept with him and assaulted him. And that sort of denial right there is what I face. And part of it is the idea of men can't be sexually assaulted. But it's a total disaster, and this isn't the only one that's like that. We can read this other one right here, where I am accused of murdering a teenage boy. And in a very adult way of, responding to my retort, called me Shark Boy because I have bad teeth. And it comes back to the privilege. They can't imagine a world where parents can't afford their kids' braces. And in my case, my mom could have gotten them for me and fixed the problem, but she was abusive, so she never did. It was part of control, part of her mental illness, all of that. So I have bad teeth. I would like nothing in the world. It's one of the... I've said that several times now. I guess it doesn't make sense. One of the other things I would like nothing better is to have my teeth fixed. And it's just so expensive for me. I can't. And it's a nightmare to deal with. And I fucking hate it. And then I went off on this guy about how mature they are and what they represent to the university, defending a rapist and an institution that defends rapists. And I never got a response back after that. And these are students that, when the Kavanaugh hearing was happening, they put that on the big screen in the cafeteria on the projector and had, people out dressed in black. And I dressed in black too, but the hint was from their students is that you're a dirty, sexually assaulter. You're a bad guy. Why do you want solidarity? And I'm like, but I'm a victim. They couldn't see me as a victim, but mostly because I'm a man. They don't understand that, my attacker is Kavanaugh. She's just a woman this time. And they're just like the Republicans supporting Kavanaugh. He's a good boy, didn't do anything wrong. He had good grades. That's what they say about her. It's like, oh, she's a good girl. She had good grades. She did all this other stuff. How could she be that? So disgusting. So disgusting.